Hi, this video is part of my complete Docker and Kubernetes course. The link is in the description of the video, so make sure to give a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any updates, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Let's start setting up our project structure. The first thing I would like to do is to create 3 directories. The first one will be our notebooks backend. We then would like to create our nodes backend. And then we would like to create a folder that will host the configuration of our reverse proxy. The reverse proxy will once again be an Nginx based solution. That means we just need to configure the files or write the configuration files. We don't need to write any application code per se. Let's then change into the notebooks backend. So notebooks backend. Let's initialize our NPM project and let's install the following dependencies. So we're going to say save exec, and then we will say express at version 4.19.2, mongoose at version 8.5.1, and body parser at version 1.20.2. Once the installation is complete, let's also install one development dependency, so save dev, and that's the nodemon dependency at version 3.1.4. Perfect. Let's now change into the nodes backend folder. Remember, this is a sibling of the notebook, so we need to go one level up and then into the nodes backend. And let's then install here the same dependencies. It's going to be the express, mongoose, and body parser. And once that is done, we also would like to install here nodemon 3.1.4. Once we are done with creating the folders and installing the dependencies, we can come here to the IDE and we should see the following directories created: the reverse proxy, the nodes backend, and the notebooks backend. I would just like to create a new src folder here, a source folder inside of the notebooks, and then a server.js file. Let's then require express is equal to require express. Let's start our app. So const app is equal to express. And then we're just going to say here very simple app.get / and that is going to be just a very simple response. We're going to say request response, and we'll simply say response.json, and then we'll say message hello from notebooks. It's a very simple here. We are just testing connectivity, and now we can start app.listen on port 3000, and the callback will simply be console.log server listening, or let's say notebooks, server listening on port 3000. Let's save this here. Let's come to the package.json. Let's create a new script. We'll simply say dev, and then we say nodemon src / server.js like so. In our terminal, let's change into the notebooks backend. If you are inside of the nodes backend, you also need to go one directory up, but here I'm already in the root of our project. Let's change here and let's see if npm run dev works as expected. Perfect. Our server is listening on port 3000. We can just come here to Postman and send a request to localhost :3000, and we will get a message hello from notebooks. We can then return here to our IDE. Let's close the package.json. Let's copy the content of this file because inside of the nodes backend, we will have the same file. So just going to create a source here, server.js. Let's paste the code here. And the difference now is that instead of port 3000, we're just going to listen on port 3001 in our localhost to prevent any conflicts with the already existing notebooks backend. We also would like to change the message from hello from notebooks to hello from nodes. And then we'll say here nodes server listening on port 3000. Let's then jump here to the terminal once again. Let's split this horizontally. Let's leave our notebooks backend up and running here. Let's then come inside of our nodes backend folder and let's run npm run dev. But before we do that, we just need to quickly come back here to the IDE. Let's copy the dev command or the dev script from our notebooks backend, and let's paste this in our package.json. Inside of the notes backend folder, I forgot to run npm init, so it's not a problem. Let's just cancel this command. Let's run npm init-y here without any issues, and you will see that it will populate the missing information. If we were to now come back here to our package.json, we'll just get the missing information here. That's great. That means we can also come here to our notebooks, copy our dev command, paste our dev command here, and just for the sake of consistency, I'm gonna move the dependencies from the top here to the bottom of my file. You will need to remove this trailing comma here, otherwise it's not a valid JSON document. Let's then just save this, come back to our terminal. Let's scroll down, clear the console, and run our npm run dev command. Oops, the message here is still printing port 3000, so let's just come back here on server and change this from 3000 to 3001. Just make sure that you are changing from the nodes backend and not the notebooks backend. Once we save this, we should confirm here that in our terminal, the nodes backend, we already have an updated message. And if we were to come back to Postman and send a GET request to the port 3001, we will get a response back, hello from nodes. Perfect. We have both notebooks and nodes projects with a very minimal version. They are at least up and running, they are working. So let's stop both the servers here because we are not gonna run these servers manually. Our goal is to orchestrate everything with Docker Compose. And these initial commands here were just a sanity check to make sure that our applications are up and running. Let's then take a short break and come back in the next lecture.